Hello friends, and welcome back to my hobby home. You will see we're doing something a little different today. For my new friends out there, welcome. My name is Cathy. Today I am going to show you my EPP that I am attempting. I know I'm having to lean down here because I want you guys to see my table. So let's just get started. The first thing we have is our EPP papers. You'll see I've got a few of them out of here. This is 1,000 EPP papers. I will have this link down in the description for you. These are going to be the easy to remove because they do have the hole in the center. So I'm just showing you what I'm using for this. I have a box that I got in my JK Quilts box. This is what I keep my pieces in and my glue pens in. This is a glue pen right here. And my refills. Guys, you're going to need a lot of refills. Take my word for it. You're going to need a lot. So I'm going to put this over here out of the way. I am also using the Tack It Easy. When I go to do these, I will pull you closer and put you down on the table so you can see what I'm doing. So right now, the things I want you to see, I will have linked is the EPP papers, the glue pen. This here is a Tack It Easy. I have found it on several different places. I think Fat Quarter Shop has it. I think Cottage Gardens something has it. I think that's who created it. Let me see. Katie Dawson, cottagegardenthreads.com.au. Katie Dawson Stitched. Game changer for EPP. And friends, it is a game changer, I'm guessing. I've never done EPP, but I'm not a good hand stitcher. And this is what I store my pieces in. I thought this was going to be tall enough to stand them up, but it's not. Because I am using the 1.5 inch finished EPP papers instead of the 1 1/4 inch. Which means I needed right at 3 inches. And this is not tall enough. So, and the pattern that I'm using, friends, y'all know, if you've been here any amount of time and you know that I was starting to do the EPP, this will be the pattern you remember seeing me do. This is on Etsy. I am kind of mixing this pattern with a pattern that I found on paper pieces. This pattern is called Classic Hexagon Quilts 1.5 hexagon triple ring. They're using 1 1/4 also. What I will be using from the Etsy, and I'll show you how it is. I'm going to have to calculate it. This is what the pattern looks like from the free pattern. You'll see how they have all the white right here. Well, on this one, they don't have all the white. I'm just going to pull this last page and flip that up because I don't know. You will see they use the half of the flower. I am going to do that. I'm going to adjust and do some half flowers. Instead of having all that white. Right now I say that's what I'm going to do. I may or may not do that. I don't know. But friends, let's just get into it. I'm going to put these patterns to the side. Now, like I said, if you want the free version, go to Paper Pieces and look up the Classic Hexagon Quilt. They have a lot of free patterns. But we have the Classic Hexagon, or if you want the Grandmother's Garden Quilt by Helen Phillips, it is on Etsy. Let me get you turned down so I can show you exactly how easy this is. Okay, friends, now you will see here I have everything on my table that I am using to make these hexagons. Here is the few fabrics that I have left out of the 107. These are the others that I've got completely done. Let me show you what they look like once they are done. And friends, if you are interested in one of these cute little storage bins, I will link that for you as well. I have some other things coming in that I know this will be good for. But friends, look, this is what the hexagon ends up looking like. I want to show you the back. You don't have to be quite perfect or exact with that, but notice there's that hole right there in the middle. We will be able to take our scissors or something and just punch up in there so we can tear that out once we get it all sewn together. So let's get started. And friends, yes, you will end up with these little white dots all over everything. So have your little handheld vac ready. But this is the Tack It Easy, the 1.5. I'm going to, you notice I have it bent all the way around. You can see that there. So let's get started here. I'm going to move my piece kind of out of the way. First thing you will do is take your fabric and lay it face down on that template. What I do is there's 2 sets of lines. This top set of lines right here, I try to make sure I'm just below that. So I lay that down, and then I get my EPP piece and I lay it down. How I do that, I fold that top one up and I just push that EPP piece in there and I lay it down. Well, it looks like I may be a little too much over here on your left side, my right. So I'll just push it a little bit. So then I do that again on both sides, the top and bottom. They seem good. So next thing I'm doing is taking my glue pen. I'm rolling that out. This is the blue glue pen. I just put a touch of it on the fabric on both ends, and then I slide a little bit right there on the paper piece, and then you just fold it over and press it down. Well, let's do that again. I put just a little bit right there on the fabric on both ends, and then just slide a little bit on that paper piece. The reason I do that on the fabric here is so these corner pieces stay laid down. So once again, I actually got pretty quick about doing this and would just go straight across it. So let me show you that again. I just go straight across, and that gets some of that glue on the fabric too. And see, I press that a lot of times, and just keep turning your piece. And it goes perfectly, friends. Every now and then you may have to press a little bit of that fabric, and you'll see, guys, that glue there, it gets to be a little mess. So I just roll it on that paper there, and it still works fine, even though it's a messy mess. So look at that. Complete, done, real easy. And we've only been in here 11 minutes, friends, and already got an EPP done, got a hexagon. So we're just gonna keep on going here. How are you guys doing? I know it is, well, for me it is Wednesday. For you guys it is Friday. We are preparing for some crazy weather here in Louisiana. Of course, got hurricane, or I don't know if it's a hurricane yet. I don't really pay a lot of attention to that anymore. We will get wind and rain off of it, maybe a few tornadoes here and there. Where I work, we already have offices down in South Louisiana already closed for the weather, because you know, it's so dangerous. They just don't want people getting out there driving in this. So we are, like I said, in the process of getting ready for some possible severe weather. We're watching Ryan Hall and Max Velocity. We're watching all the storm chasers and things, just making sure we're okay. My daughter, her fiance, had to go out of town, and he's having to go down to Plaquemine Parish. So, friends, I'm going to turn you up while I talk to you, and y'all can watch me do this. Okay, friends, I hope I have this where you can see me doing this. But I told y'all I would bring y'all along for at least one EPP. I am loving this. I was always afraid of EPP because I have trouble doing hand stitching. I still cross stitch, but I haven't done it in a while. I've got all those cross stitch projects going that's just sitting over here. I'm about to not really redo my room, but get my room a little ready for some things. I've told y'all I've got something else I'm wanting to get, and I need to start preparing for it. And I figured I would talk to y'all while I am finishing up these last few pieces of fabric. Yeah, put it up against my shirt. You can see it a lot better. Just so you can see how fast this goes. It only took me 2 days to get all of these done. And that was just, a couple hours here, a couple hours there, each one of those days. And the reason I didn't get any more done was because I didn't have any more of my papers with me when I was doing them. So, but we are prepared, y'all. I'm preparing for so many things right now. Preparing for bad weather, preparing my garden. I've got my little garden has a lot of peas. I'm doing kind of like the second planting. With peas, you can succession plant those. You could do, like plant some 2 weeks and then 2 weeks later plant another row. If you want fresh peas all summer, you can do that. I'm just looking to get enough for a little fresh eating and maybe some to put up, because I love me some purple hull peas. My goodness, y'all. Now, I can remember growing up, I hated picking those things. My mom and dad had a friend that they planted a whole field of nothing. I don't know if it was purple hull peas, black-eyed peas. I don't remember what it was. It was peas. And we had to go help them pick. It was probably an acre, y'all. It was huge. I say it was huge. I was a little girl. A quarter of an acre is huge. And we would have to go help pick those. I would do everything in my power to get out of picking peas. Oh, I just hated picking peas. It was just awful. It was hot and you had to bend over but I guess we picked peas. We got some of them. I can remember being in high school. Now, that was my mom and dad's friends that had that garden. But I remember when I was in high school, my mom and dad had divorced by then. And there was some people where I lived, because I had moved with my mother. And there was some people where I lived. They had a huge field that they planted. And they would allow people to come and pick on halves. And what that is, you could go carry your bushel basket and You pick 2 bushels, they keep 1, you get 1, you know. So, and then they would literally shell the peas for you if you wanted them to. They had a pea sheller. But we would go and get, I remember picking corn and okra and peas. I'm trying to think if there was anything else that we ever picked up over there. Tomatoes, we would get tomatoes. I don't know why we never had a garden. It was my mom and my stepdad. Probably they just didn't have time, I guess, to have a garden. We didn't really have a good space to have a garden either. But I can remember picking peas and this might shock y'all. Something that you would probably never think. I don't know. I'm from the South. I'm from Louisiana. You'd probably believe this. I hope you believe it because it's true. After I graduated high school, I did, you know, during my break before I moved and then went to college, I did like odd and end jobs. I worked at an insurance agency part-time, and then I cleaned houses part-time. You know, I had a house that I cleaned. And then during the summer, I hoed cotton. It was a big plantation between where I lived. Oh, I could tell you, between Columbia and Monroe, Louisiana. If you're familiar with our area, you know where it is. Down 165. We actually had more than one field that we hoed. But you know, for a teenager just out of high school, and I was trying to decide what I was going to do with my life, I didn't have it figured out. Friends, I'm 54 and still don't have it figured out. I'm at the age now where I need adventure. And I realized today I had a little bit of time between my lunch and my doctor's appointment. So I thought, okay, I would go to the mall. And friends, I ain't been to the mall in a very long time, because the mall is just not a place for me anywhere. Anyway, but I went to the mall and I was going to do a little walking. Yeah, that didn't turn out so well, y'all. It was hot in there. It was hot in that mall. And, you know, with my back still being, you know, how it is, I'm not having pain, friends. Hallelujah. I'm pain free until I decided to walk the, you know, mall and get me a little walking in. And I even told my doctor today, I said, if I had, before I went to the mall and thought I was going to walk it, I told him, I said, I would have told you I was at a 0 for pain. Because when I walk distances, my hips just lock up. And I mean, it's just, it is what it is. I mean, I'm not a young chick anymore. And, you know, I had a good life growing up. We fell out of trees. We fell off of horses. We fell off of pyramids and cheerleading. You know, I did a lot of damage to my body. I wasn't real kind to it. And now, at 54 years old, it is showing me exactly what that does to your body. So if y'all got some young loved ones in there, let them know, be careful with their body, because that skeletal system, whew, it can only take so much before it starts breaking down. But friends, I hope you can see how fast I'm going through this. I mean, and think about it. I need like, I'm at just say 1900, which I've got to order another one of these. I I've got to have 1,900 of these. Well, probably more than that. I'm going to say 1,900 because it's 1,800 plus some. And I have to do like half squares, you know, half hexagons too. So, but I am so excited about doing this. This part may go by real quick. And when I start assembling these into rows, I have figured out, oh, look there, friends, y'all get to see me change this out. I've used up all my glue in here. I already had an extra glue stick, so I used that. Let's see where my opening is here, because I don't want to open these all up. So this way you can see what this looks like. This is the refills. You will see here when I open this up that it is just, I'm going to put it over here, a little gray end here. Let me show you how we do this. I'm going to just pull this out. Well, you don't just pull it. It does kind of twist. And then I'm going to put the clear twister in there and twist it in. You may not have to twist it in. It may just pop down. But you got your large glue stick, and I just wind it down in there. There we go. And look how much is poking up there. Can you see? It's a decent amount. So what I do is I just put that used piece in there and just drop it over here in the garbage. I try not to be so messy with this, but sometimes it just is, you know. Sometimes it is just messy. And you don't have to push real hard on this for it to put glue on it. Now, when you get these Tack It Easies, which this is, oh my goodness, y'all, this is so amazing. You get 2 of them when you order them. I was telling y'all I'm preparing for so many things, and then I stopped telling you. We got the weather. We're preparing for the weather. That's the biggest thing right now. Then I'm preparing for this Grandma's Garden quilt that I'm so excited to be doing, because y'all, this does look like something my grandmother would make. I may even make some hot pads with these, because that's something my grandmother would do too. She would make hot pads if she didn't use all of her stuff up. But most of my grandmother's hot pads, we had a, what's that called? It was a square, and you put all the rubber fabric things on it, and then you weaved it through there. I can't even remember what that's called. I don't know who has that now. I would love to have that, because we made hot pads with that thing all the time. My grandmother would probably, I don't know, she might have made us some pieces at some point in time, because we made so many of them. It's not the latch hook, because that's like you make pillows and rugs and things like that with a latch hook. I'll think about it after I quit recording, friends. But you'll see here I am, you know, making good time here. I don't know how many pieces I had. I'll count them for you when we get done, because I'm going to do all of them here with you guys. I'm finishing out. This is Tilda. The fabric I'm using right now is Tilda. I have another yard of fabric that I am going to break out and do too. I think I'm going to do a yard of a light color maybe. Not my background or my They don't call it background. They call it, what do they call it? Well, yeah, they call it background. Background, you need 4.5 yards. But I may pull out my Lori Holt fat quarter bundle. I have some Lori Holt fat quarters that are not in like a big bundle. Some that I got from Sweet Daisy Quilt Shop. And y'all, I don't know. I don't think yesterday was Sweet Treat Tuesday. Y'all go check them out too. Sweet Daisy Quilt Shop. You can Google them. And if you find something you love on Tuesdays, not every Tuesday, it may be like the 2nd and 4th or 1st and 3rd. I can't recall which one it is. I just know I check my email every Tuesday for their email. And they have like some fabulous deals on curated bundles that they've done. And I try to get some every now and then, but so far I'm trying not to be buying a lot of fabric this year. I know I have bought fabric for quilts that I want to do, and for family or friends, you know, quilts I want to do. Or, you know, like the Yuletide sampler I ended up with, I didn't have any pieces large enough to do this last clue, so I just went and bought, you know, what I needed for this last clue that's coming up, or that has come up. I can't remember. Is that the one we're on now? I can't remember, friends. Not surprising. That's what happens when you get old and when you have a lot of things going on. But, okay, so other than the weather and Grandma's scrap quilt that I'm preparing for, not, you know, I'm preparing for my Grandma's scrap quilt because I've never done EPP. And, friends, I will bring y'all back when I start putting the rows together, because I just don't know how I'm going to do this. I've been told you can machine sew these. If you have a particular needle suggestion, please let me know, because I just don't know. I would think maybe like a jean needle. Maybe that, or an upholstery, because you're going to be going through the paper piecing. And I'm sure I would want to shorten my stitch length so I would almost perforate the paper to where I could tear it out. I might not even have to cut it if I do a small enough stitch line. And I'm probably going to use almost like a zigzag or a satin stitch almost. If you embroider, you know what I mean by a satin stitch. But I haven't decided yet. I have looked on my machine at my stitches that I do have available. Just trying to figure out which one I want to do. I would love to do a patchwork stitch, but you know, it has the line on one side and the stitches going straight off on the other side. So I'm like not real sure if that is. Now, why is that one so small? My goodness, that one is small. Guys, that's why I'm telling you, you don't have to be perfect here. You don't have to be perfectly in the center with that fabric and the paper piece. As long as it covers it. I don't know if you can see right there on this one here was really, really small. And y'all are really far away from me. So that is why y'all can't see very well. I had to pull y'all far away from me so you could see everything. And I couldn't blow it up, because if I blew it up, you wouldn't see anything. But here I am on my very last piece. I will count these down. And we've been going 33 minutes. But, you know, I kind of did a little talking there. And I had to move stuff around, and the video was still going. So I'm talking as I'm doing this. So what the length of the video you get will just about be the length of time it took me to do these, which, I mean, it's not been very long, really. I would say probably 20 minutes, and I'll give you a count of how many I've done, because that's it for my tilde fabric. So guys, when I put my glue stick away, I roll it down and put it back in there. I keep it in my box. I put my refills in the box as well, and I put my Tack It Easy in the box as well, because I don't want to lose anything. And while I'm doing that, let me just go on and put all of these in here too. Now, I do have my pieces that didn't cut quite right, you know, because I cut this with the AccuQuilt, friends. These that didn't cut quite right, some of them I'm going to check to see if I can use them as a hexagon. If they're big enough, I will use them as a hexagon for the quilt. If they're not big enough, I'll use them as a half hexie. So let's see how many we did in about 20 minutes. That one there, I can feel the fabric is loose. I may need to redo that one. So that's 14. I did 14 in about 20 minutes. Probably even less than that. But friends, there's 14 more that can go in our box. I have 4 of these boxes. When you order them, they come in a pack of 4. But like I said, one of the other things I'm getting ready for is I'm still working on getting a new machine, not a sewing machine. And I promise I will bring you guys along with me. This is going to help me on the business end, along with possibly opening an Etsy shop. I have not decided yet if I want to open an Etsy shop, but this will be more on the line of making things to sell. And that's going to be what the focus of this machine will be, making things to sell. I will do videos with you guys with the machine, but it is strictly going to be because I can't make enough quilts to sell, and people don't really want to pay what it costs to even make a quilt. They don't want to even pay that to purchase a quilt. A lot of people don't. So I will probably continue to do quilt tops and sell those in D-stashes. And friends, I'm really afraid we're going to have another D-stash really soon. So y'all stay tuned. When I get a D-stash recorded and scheduled, I always post it in my community post, so you guys can see it in your, if you're on your phone, I think it'll pop it up. My post, but I always post it out there as a premiere, and you can click that notify me. But I'll also tell you in my video if I've got one recorded, and we're going to be doing it sooner. In my updates, I also do that in my updates. I'll let you know, hey, we're going to have a D-stash on this day. Be watching for that premiere post so you can go and click the notify me. But friends, this is EPP, I think probably in its simplest form, because I did watch a lady hand sew a bunch of those little bitty squares, and I was like, there's absolutely no way I can do that. But I am going to try putting 2 of the Hexi'S together and making a row. I've seen them. I've kind of watched people do this online. But they take the 2 pieces like this, you know, get them perfectly even, and then they stitch across them. You know, go straight down that connected. And I think what you do is you make a long one, you know, like if you need 4 pieces, you can put 4 pieces together. So I'm just going to keep trying. But I've got all of these pieces, so I know these will make some rows already. I may do that. I may get one of my project bins to hold all my EPP rows So, friends, y'all just hang in there with me. We're going to be making a quilt. It's not going to be a fast one. It's not going to be a month. It's probably more than likely going to take me a year to make this. But that is okay. It is not a race. So, friends, thank you for joining me so much. I truly appreciate each and every one of you coming and visiting with me in my sewing room. I hope you enjoyed the chit-chatting. All my friends that are close to the Gulf, y'all be careful, please. Be very vigilant, watching the weather. Have your radios, your batteries, your flashlights, everything you need, and water. Make sure to keep you some drinkable water. So, friends, before you head out, please give me a thumbs up. If you have not yet subscribed, what are you waiting for? There is so much stuff that we're going to be doing because I am clearing this room out and I'm breaking it down to machines that I'm using, and we're going to kind of rotate that around. I do get more into my crafty stuff closer to the fall because I do like to make gifts for Christmas, and I bring you guys along with me when I start doing that. So, guys, hit that subscribe button and that notification bell so you don't miss a single thing. Feel free to leave a comment. Tell me what you think. I do try to respond to each and every comment personally. And as always, until I see you again, I hope you have a very blessed day. Bye, friends.